1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey everyone, in this week's feature lesson, we're going to take a look at an original composition I've entitled David Rawlings Style Solo and Jam. And as the title states, we are going to take a deep dive into the style, the sounds, the techniques of David Rawlings, okay? And if you've heard him before, seen and heard him, you'll know he's a very innovative player, very creative, maybe even kind of outside the box thinker, if you will. He really likes dissonance. And again, we're going to take a look at a lot of different concepts and techniques that he's doing, such as, cross picking, using chord shapes up and down the fretboard, using harmonics within our solo, and doing what I call some slippery licks, lots of syncopation and, emphasis on phrasing. So there's a lot going on here, and we're going to do our best. I'm going to do my best to show you how to get some of that Dave Rawlings sound. This lesson is largely inspired by David Rawlings' recording entitled Ruby. It's on one of his first albums, a beautiful composition, and I encourage you to give that a listen because I'm really drawing a lot of the sounds and the licks from that recording, so give that a listen. All right, so we're going to start walking through the first few measures here, and before I put the tabs up on the screen, you're going to notice here in a second that I don't have any pick directions marked below the staff, okay? And if you follow my lessons, you probably know that I'm a big proponent of getting the pick direction correct and mastering that. But there are some pieces where we have a little bit more liberties, right? And usually in slower pieces, which this is, and since it's in the style of Dave Rawlings, if you watch him play, he does a lot where he's alternate picking for a while, and then he's doing consecutive downstrokes, and he's able to go back and forth between the two. And so that's what I'm going to do in this piece, and I'll kind of talk about when I'm doing such things. But just know there's no pick directions written below there, and that's for a reason. So it's kind of up to you, I guess, and I'll guide you what I think you should do. But it's kind of what's most comfortable, and sometimes doing consecutive downstrokes will also just have a different sound to it. Also make note that this arrangement lesson is inspired by his recording Ruby off of one of his first albums. It's similar chord progression but different, and that's what I'm kind of drawing. Again, some of this inspiration, some of this sound, some of his licks is from that recording, so I highly encourage you to go listen to it. It's one of my favorite indeed. So let's put those tabs up on the screen. All right, so now we are going to, we got the pickup there on the and of beat one. Again, there's going to be lots of syncopation in offbeat things. And yeah, so here's what that sounds like. So 3, 4, 1. I went on there just a bit. Again, 3, 4, 1. And again, I might have a separate video clip explaining kind of the notes I'm using, the scales and the positions and all about that. I'll get a deep dive into that stuff. But I am going to be, as a general, I'm going to be using a lot of G major scale work over top of all the chords. And in measure 1, that's what we have here. We're kind of starting with a little G major scale run, starting on the A note, and it's on the and of beat 1. So 1 and 2. So open A, 2nd fret, 3rd fret on the A, open D, 2, 4, slide to 4, then open G. So right away we have this dissonant interval right here. There's half step apart. Dave loves that sort of thing, and this particular one uses it in multiple different tunes, and so we're gonna use that little motif throughout this whole piece. And then measure 2, we get to the 5th fret of the D. We're gonna get this into this chord here, this shape. It's a G chord, F shape, and so we're gonna play the D string. And then we're going to do a backwards cross-picking roll here. B, G, D, B, G, D. Pretty simple. You could do a number of different cross-picking things there, but... Then we get to measure 3, and I'm going to finger the 5th fret of the B string with the pinky, okay? And that's going to be a quarter note there, so 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and... So 5th fret on the B, and then D string, and then we're going to lift off, and then we go back to the 3rd of the B, tied over there, a little syncopated, then 5th fret of D, B string, G. Kind of a little bit of a broken cross pick, if you will. Measure 4, we go to the B minor chord, and here I'm going to do all downstrokes here. I'm going to essentially do an arpeggio through the chord. 4 on the D twice, 4 on the G twice, 3 on the B twice. I'm gonna get there with my first finger, and then 5-3 pull. All 4 of those in context. 3, 4, 1. Okay, moving on to the next 4, sound like this. Okay, so we're on the 5-3 pulls where we left off, and then we're going to go shoot up to the 7th fret on the B string using the 3rd finger. Again, that's F sharp. It's in the chord of B minor, and it's part of the G major scale. Okay, just a reference there. So, and it's a beat and a half. So 1, 2, and then play it again, and then play it again and pull to 5, and then 7 again on the B quarter note there. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Next measure, we get to the 8th fret on the B string. Let's get there with our 2nd finger, okay? So it's going to be 1, 2, and... Okay, now here's one of these little, what I've been referring to them as slippery licks. And Dave likes this sort of thing. It's kind of unconventional, so to speak. Again, he's kind of thinking outside the box a lot. Innovative player. And you hear him do this lick, or very closely, on the recording, Ruby. So what I'm doing is I got my pinky on the 10th fret of the high E, and then all my other fingers are placed behind it. They are down and ready to go. So I'm doing one pluck, and I'm pulling off to the 7th fret. And then B string on 8. And the next measure I'll come to the 9 on the G. So I want that all to ring and connect. Tricky, like you might not get every note all the time. You know, you gotta have some nice strength with those pull-offs, but that measure exactly, 1, 2, and 3. how that just connects. Tricky, you know, advanced lick, but that's kind of his style right there, that sound. So 7th fret, we land on the 9 of the G, and then we 7-9 hammer there. Back to 7, 9, 7 slide on the D, down to 5. Next measure, 7 on the D string, then open G, bounce it off the open G, back to 7, go down to 5, shift down, that is, with the 3rd finger, 5, open G, 5th D. Doing a little drone, pretty simple measure there. So all 4 of those, 2, ready, go, 1, 2, and. And then the next 4. Okay, so measure 9, I'm still walking down, right? Come to the 4th fret on the D, and then open G, back to 4, slide to 2, pull off to D, 3 on the A. So another instance where I'm getting like, you know, 3 notes with 1 pluck, and kind of a slidey, slippery lick there. Not as much as before, but still the same effect, right? Kind of smooth, silky, if you will. That's what he does a lot of, or that's what I hear. Trying to imitate that. So it takes a little more strength in the left hand. In measure 10, we land on the 2nd fret of the A, which is a B note, the 3rd of G. Okay. And I just do a little strum there, so 1, 2, 3. And then now we do the same run up as we kind of started the tune, the same kind of G major scale. And again, that interval, right? That F sharp against the G rubs, dissonant. And Dave makes, I've heard him talk about how he really likes dissonance. And here, great example right here. And I might do some downstrokes here on this run. Then did down ups there. Measure 12, 2-4 slide on the G, 3 on the B, back to 4 on the G, 5 on the E, and then 4-3, 4 on the G, 3 on the B. And you can this lick right here, measure 12, you can kind of does this in Ruby. It's one that I kind of stole here, or got darn close anyway. So all 4 of those put together. 1, 2, ready, go. And then moving on, the next 4. So you notice there, measure 13, there's a tie, goes into the down beat there when I'm on this note. So beat 1. And then starting on beat 2. And I ended on measure 17. So measure 13, 3rd fret of the B. I'm going to start on beat 2 here, so 3, and then 4 on the G, slide to 2, open, and then right here, another little semi-slippery lick, if you will, 4, slide to 3, slide to 2. You know, I'm sliding right up to the downbeat on that E note. So 4 and 1, and then 1 on the B, tie, 2 on the D, back to 1. 0-2 hammer on that D. So landing on the 3rd fret A and strum. And then here I do a little run up to the D chord. So 3, 2, 3. slide to 4. Kind of chromatic, right? And he does a lot of chromatic stuff, and then we keep going with that kind of sound. Open D, 2, 3, 4, 2 on the D, 3 on the B. There's a tie there, and back to 4 on the D. In this shape, right here as well, this D, kind of the D F sharp, is something that I use a lot in my lessons. Dave uses, lots of guitar players use it, and we'll be using it here and in the second arrangement as well. Very versatile shape to understand and to get to know. So all 4 of those. 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and they ended on the downbeat of measure 17. So let me play through the first 16, 17 bars here, so you can hear it all go by, and you can play along if you want. And yeah. So from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, we're going to move on to the chorus when you're ready. Again, if you want to access and download the tabs and the audio tracks, get the full-length lesson, make sure you click the link in the box below. And we're going to move on with this when you're